What's shaking? Y'all know I'm baking. Calzax back on the mic, and today we got a little bit of a different video. I'm actually going to be talking about computer parts today. So, if you're in the business of looking for a new computer, whether it be for gaming, for streaming, if you just want a powerhouse, if you're even programming, I know there's like AI stuff you can do out there with these GPUs and stuff, anything like that, these are going to be for you. I've got 3 different builds that I want to show you guys for different price levels, just because I know everyone out there is not going to be exactly looking for the same price builds. If you end up enjoying the video, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to see you guys here. Join the conversation. We're an up-and-coming channel, doing our best out here to make waves, and we need you guys' support to get there. You guys kind of dictate where we go, so just let us know what you want to see. Until then, we'll be here for you. Anyway, so let's go ahead and hop right into it. These are going to be 3 builds, 3 solid computer builds for late 2020, okay? So right before, kind of like right around when the next gen consoles are coming around, these are going to be ready for that kind of stuff. Let's talk about it.
Attention gamers. You ever have that feeling when you're gaming that you're missing something? Well, I think I might know what that is. I think you're lacking your gaming gear, like this shirt here. For shirts like this one and other fun gaming gear and awesome apparel and things like that, jump over to arraygaming.com and use promo code CalzaxTV for a 10% discount to all their merchandise, all their gear. Thank me later. That feeling will go away.
So firstly, I want to talk about the late 2020 around $750 computer I have created. So if this is about your price range, this will be the lowest price range we're discussing. It's going to be about $750 total for the computer itself. Let's go ahead and dive into what parts I recommend for that. First thing we'll want to talk about is the processor. And this is actually going to be the same for this and the next build, just because I think it's a solid processor for the price you're getting it at. And that is the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 3.8 gigahertz 6-core processor. This processor is, wow, bang for your buck, okay? It's only priced, I don't know, $10 more, I would say, than the Ryzen 5 3600. When we're looking at the performance you're going to get from this chip compared to other chips on the market, you're going to have to pay a lot more money for slightly better performance than this chip. This chip is a great baseline. Now, for those of you that don't know, we can get into more videos about this if you guys want more information about it, but basically the Intel cards are going to be the best for gaming. Yes, if you want superior high-end gaming and you want to milk every frame out of your machine as possible, you're going to have to go with an Intel card at the current moment, okay? It's getting close, but when it comes to bang for your buck, Ryzen is definitely better. And it's actually better as an all-around chip. Those Intel cards do not perform as well when it comes to other software outside of just gaming. So if you're video editing, streaming, if you're doing photo editing, if you're programming, if you're running neural networks, if you're doing anything like that, these Ryzens are going to be awesome for you. And the frame rate difference percentage you're going to get from an Intel compared to this card is going to be minuscule for that price. So anyway, that is my rant about the Ryzen 5 3600X. CPU cooler, I'm just going to recommend the old classic Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. This is just a classic and a staple in the world of computers. I've owned many of these in the past. The one thing about them, they are a little tall. So if you do go for this one and you choose your own case, just make sure it fits. I believe it's about 120 millimeters in height. So just make sure that you're going to be able to fit that in your case. That's the only thing about it, but it's a great cooler for a great price. If you need something a little smaller, you might have to pay a little bit more for that kind of stuff. This one here is basically just a big old heat sink with a fan attached to it, but if you want a smaller one, you're going to have to go with a liquid cooling style CPU cooler. Okay, so for the motherboard, we're going to go for the ASRock B450 Steel Legend ATX AM4 motherboard. This is just a good priced $100 motherboard here. This is ATX form factor, so it's going to fit your, you're going to need a case that fits that. Some cases are small and they'll only accept micro ATX, things like that, and those motherboards are smaller. If you want a compact build for maybe even cheaper than this, then check out those micro ATX builds, but I prefer ATX motherboards because they give you more room to upgrade and they just usually have more features. So while some people might tell you to spend a little less on the motherboard, I like to spend a little bit more on it just because they're usually built a little thicker. This is one of the most fragile parts on the computer, the motherboard. It's going to last you too. The parts you're going to want to be upgrading in the future are going to be your processor, your GPU, but your motherboard is not really something that you're going to have to upgrade as often. It's really just what connects all your other parts. So I'd recommend just going on a decent one for now, just because you don't want it to be fragile, you don't want it to break on you, and it's going to have some nice bonuses such as like the USB 3.0 type stuff. It has M.2 slots for your SSDs, the internal SSDs, the new ones that are coming out, so it's faster than a SATA connected SSD. We can get to more of that in just a moment. That's my recommendation for the motherboard. Let's go ahead and talk about the memory. I'd recommend just old Corsair Vengeance LPX 16 gigabytes. It's just 2 sticks of the 8 gigabytes DDR4, 3200 megahertz. This is a classic staple in the memory game. Some people might tell you need more than 16 gigabytes. It's really personal preference. I have 16 gigabytes only in my $2,000 computer, and it works just fine because I know how to like close applications and stuff. If you're out there doing a lot of things on your computer and you like to have a bunch of applications open at the same time, you're going to want more memory probably than that, maybe 24 or higher. But for me, 16 is a totally doable amount. It's just if you're doing things like video editing, if you're gaming, things like that, just make sure you close other applications. Don't leave them open because they're just going to memory hog, especially things like Chrome. Like when I'm gaming, I close Chrome. I literally go to the task manager, I end it. You can check your system tray, make sure it's killed in there. Chrome is a memory hog, so if you're having memory issues, you probably just want to look at that. But anyway, that's my rant on memory. Let's go ahead and talk about our storage. For storage, I think I would recommend the Samsung 970 EVO 500 gigabyte M.2 solid state drive. This would be the spot to save some money, so if you just wanted to drop, you could switch this out for maybe a hard drive or something, but in the modern era, I think hard drives are kind of dying out. I think it's the solid state drive era now, and especially the M.2 solid state drive era. This just plugs directly into your motherboard. As I was saying, not all motherboards support this. This is kind of a newer technology, but it's faster than your standard internal SSDs because those use SATA cables to plug in, whereas this is a direct connection to the motherboard. So you're getting extreme speeds to get you started. And then from there, you could totally upgrade at any time. There's so many slots, especially in your case. If you have this internal SSD only, you're going to have tons of space for other SSDs and hard drives and stuff. So you can always add on to this. This is just my baseline of what I'd recommend. As for the video card, I would recommend the XFX Radeon RX 580 8GB GTX triple XCD video card. The reason I recommend this is honestly price. This is where you're going to get the big jump. When you go from this $750 to the next tier, about $1,000 computer, the card is going to get better. This is something that we can upgrade. So this is still a decent card though. For this price, when with this the rest of the specs in this computer, you're still going to have a powerhouse of a machine at this price. This is still a pretty good card. It's going to be able to play a lot of titles today, especially for a gaming computer, but if you're wanting that super solid next-gen experience on computer, you might want to look to the next tier just because of this. But still, if you're just looking to get involved in the computer gaming scene, here's your start right here. Next, for a case, it's kind of your pick. Go with something that you like. Right now, I'm going to recommend the Corsair Spec Delta RGB ATX mid-tower case just because it's a good price for what it is. But this part's really up to you. Just make sure you get something that will fit an ATX motherboard and something that will fit that Hyper 212 Evo CPU cooler, 120 millimeters, I believe. So check for both of those. But besides that, just about any case that you find out there that you like should be fine. For the power supply, we're just going to keep it cheap. But I like to have my 80 plus gold just to ensure that this thing does what it's supposed to and stays in good shape. But I'll recommend the EVGA GD 2019, I guess in this case, 500 watt, 80 plus gold certifies ATX power supply. 500 watts would be totally fine. I'm estimating this computer to be at 380-ish watts, so 500 should be totally fine. It's a little low if you're looking to expand in the future, so if you want a computer that's going to stand the test of time a little bit better, I would recommend holding on to a little bit more cash and looking to the next tier. But here's your entrance for about $750. Let's go ahead and hop into the next build. Okay, now we're on to the $1,000 tier. This computer is going to be similar in a lot of ways to the last one, but it's basically just an upgraded version of it. So I'm saying go with the same CPU. I still think you're going to get your bang for your buck there. Stick with the Hyper 212 Evo. You're still going to get your bang for your buck there. The motherboard, let's go and upgrade that a little bit to the Asus Tough Gaming X570 Plus ATX AM4 motherboard. Essentially, again, as I said before, the motherboard's going to be fragile. This is just another upgrade to make it even thicker and just have a few more capabilities on it. Just stand the test of time a little bit more than I think the AS ROG will. So moving on to the memory, I would still recommend the same there. And for the storage, we're going to actually go with the same SSD, just instead this time we're going to move up to a terabyte, so you got a little extra space. And for the video card, this is where we're going to make a big upgrade. I think we're going to go with the MSI GeForce GTX 1660 Super 6GB Ventus overclocked video card. This is a super solid card here, even better than the 580 that we were talking about before. Definitely more next gen capable, and you know, you could really go with this one or the 1660 Ti. It's kind of your choice, 1660 Super or 1660 Ti. These are going to be sort of in the same ballpark for price. The 1660 Ti is going to be a little bit more expensive, but also give you more performance. So if you can find one that fits your budget for the 1660 Ti, I would go ahead and upgrade it to that. But if not, the 1660 Super is going to be super solid still. Go ahead and stick here and enjoy it. Man, this is a good card. Case, very similar to the last thing. I'll still recommend the Corsair Spec Delta, but if it's not in stock or anything like that, just go with what you like. There's tons of cool stuff to go out there. Check out NZXT, Corsair, Lee. I mean, there's just all kinds of brands out there for cases. Find what you like, find what fits you, personalize it. Okay, lastly, we're gonna go with the EVGA. This time it's the same brand of the power supply, the same exact type. This time we're gonna go with 700 watts though. Even though this has about the same power estimation, I just think it's more future-proof for not that much more expensive. So just go ahead and upgrade to the 700 watts. That way, whenever you feel it's time to upgrade your video card or your processor or anything like that, you have the wattage at your disposal. You don't need to go out and buy a new power supply. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our about $1350-ish computer here. This is going to be a beast. I'm really excited to talk about this one for you guys. Let's go ahead and hop right in, man. So we're going to still stick with the AMD Ryzen 5 3600X. I gave a long spiel about that for a reason. I really stand by this card, or this chip, for the price that you're getting it at. I mean, of course, again, if you want your high-end gaming, I use an Intel card in my gaming computer, but then again, I spent $700 more in this, over $700 more in this. I spent over $2,000 on my computer to get an Intel card and everything, and that's just because of my job. You know, I kind of need to milk all I can out of it, but I was ready to spend that kind of money. For you gamers out there, this is going to work. Save your money. Unless you've got the money to spend, then sure, you can upgrade it to an i7, i9, anything like that, or a higher end Ryzen card, because those do get a bit more expensive as you move up to the Ryzen 7s, the Ryzen 9, things like that. But these are definitely direct competitors with those Intel cards. Next up, I'm going to go with a different CPU cooler this time around. Let's go with the Cooler Master Liquid CPU cooler. This is going to give you better thermal performance. I don't think the Evo was going to give you too much trouble anyway, but this will just give you that little extra boost. It also looks a little nicer, has some RGB stuff going on, and this build I'm going to fit some RGB in there, give you a little bit more modern taste. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. The MSI X470 Gaming Plus Max ATX AM4 motherboard is what my next recommendation would be. Honestly, you can go with this one or the last motherboard from the $1,000 build that I was talking about. Either they're kind of trade in, trade out, so just take your pick. Pretty damn similar at the end of the day, so I won't spend too much time there. Memory, we're gonna still stick with the Corsair Vengeance, but this time we'll go Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro 16GB. Again, if you'd like, you can upgrade them more. You could even go with a higher megahertz at this point if you're spending this kind of money if you'd like, but it's not that big of a deal to me, so I just thought you guys might like the extra lights, to be honest, the little RGB, so that's why we changed that out. But 16GB is totally fine nowadays. Maybe, you know, after a bit we'll need a little bit more, but you've got more slots for that. It's one of the easiest things to upgrade, so don't concern yourself too much with it. Next, we're gonna go with the same storage as the last time, so I'll skip over that. And here is our big upgrade right here, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 Super 8GB video card. Finally, we have a build with an RTX card in it. These cards are amazing. So the RTX is going to stand for ray tracing. Essentially, these have the capability that other cards do not. Ray tracing is still kind of being introduced. You're not going to see too many games with it, but you will have like Cyberpunk is actually going to have it. Cyberpunk 2077 that's coming out, and we're going to have a ton of videos on that, so be ready for that. But that's going to have your ray tracing. Super excited for that. Already though, we have Minecraft with ray tracing. Like Call of Duty Modern Warfare has the option to turn it on. It looks fantastic. Ray tracing is awesome, and this just gives you that ability. And even if you're not ray tracing though, these RTX cards are fat. They are powerful. Powerhouses. So this is definitely where you're going to see the biggest performance boost in this computer. Super thrilled about this card, guys. Next for the case, I'll just recommend a different one. This, just for the sake of it, this one's Lee Landcool 2X ATX mid-tower case. Take your pick. Again, your mid-towers are going to be a little bit smaller. You're going to have mid-towers at ATXs. You usually won't be able to go smaller than a mid-tower for your ATX motherboards. ATX is usually mid-tower and full tower. To go below that, you're going to have to go micro ATX. But anyway, cases, again, up to you guys. Power supply, we're going to go with the 750 watt this time around. Still more power draw than we're needing, but I like to future-proof my power supplies. You could go with the 700 watts still for a little bit cheaper. I mean, I think you'll still get your bang for your buck there. But there we have it, guys. I mean, there's my 3 builds for you guys for late 2020. I think you guys are going to get some awesome performance out of these builds, and I hope this video helps you guys out. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and if you guys have different opinions, if you guys agree with what I've been saying. If you guys want to see more videos like this, I could do other price tiers. Maybe you want something cheaper than the 700, maybe you want something more expensive than the 1300. Do you want to see what my $2,000 build is? Things like that. Just let me know. Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave us a like. We love your faces, and we'll catch you next time.